October 1998. If you are ever driving through northern Montana and see a sign pointing toward Dead Creek, keep driving. I was a wildlife photographer when an old ranger named Walter Grayson called me about a forest filled with disappearances. Locals spoke of something called the Whistler, a presence that mimicked human whistles deep in the woods. They said 1 whistle meant safety, 2 meant it was following you, 3 meant you would never hear another warning. At night I heard the whistles myself. The entire town seemed terrified of the sound. Walter showed me files containing decades of missing persons cases connected to Dead Creek Forest. Campers, hunters, students, and rangers vanished without blood, tracks, or evidence. The only thing linking them together was the sound of a whistle before they disappeared. Walter revealed that his son Daniel had vanished during a search operation years earlier. Before disappearing, Daniel reported hearing whistles through his radio. Later, Walter heard Daniel's voice outside his home, even though Daniel was already gone. A journal left behind by Daniel suggested the creature was not calling people. It was copying them. That night something stood outside my motel room using Walter's voice. Then it used my mother's voice, even though she had died years before. The next morning Walter and I entered Dead Creek Forest to find the truth. The deeper we traveled, the quieter the woods became. There were no birds, no insects, and no signs of ordinary life. We found strange claw marks high on trees and evidence of abandoned camps. Messages carved into stone warned visitors not to whistle back. The warnings claimed the thing learned names and wore human voices. Walter received radio messages from Daniel, but we knew they were not real. As darkness fell, we camped near a dry stream and listened to the forest. Near midnight a figure appeared wearing Daniel's face. Its body was wrong, stretched and unnatural beneath human clothing. It spoke with Daniel's voice, then switched to the voice of my mother. Walter fired his rifle and the creature answered with a third whistle. Immediately dozens of whistles echoed through the forest around us. We ran through the darkness while something followed from the shadows. The forest twisted directions and imitated familiar voices. At one point I heard Walter calling from 2 different directions at once. I hid beneath a fallen tree and watched a false version of Walter search for me. Its feet were twisted backward and its smile stretched beyond human limits. A camera flash seemed to hurt it, buying me enough time to escape. Eventually I reunited with the real Walter and we continued onward. Before dawn we reached a massive depression in the earth called the Hollow Place. The area was filled with belongings from missing people spanning generations. From below came whispers, cries, and familiar voices. I heard my own name spoken by my dead mother. Walter heard Daniel calling for help from somewhere beneath the pit. The creature understood exactly which voices could break a person's resolve. Hands emerged from the darkness below the edge of the pit. Faces of the missing appeared one by one. They begged us to come closer and join them. Walter refused to believe the voices any longer. Together we prepared to destroy the place. We poured fuel around the edge while the voices screamed and pleaded. Then something enormous rose from below. It was a mass of flesh, faces, mouths, and stolen identities. Hundreds of mouths whistled together in a horrifying chorus. Walter told me to run while he stayed behind. He believed someone had to hold the creature back. I fled through smoke and fire as gunshots echoed behind me. When I finally escaped the forest, Walter was gone. Back in town, nobody remembered Walter Grayson. His house appeared abandoned and his records had vanished. Only Martha from the diner hinted that he had ever existed. She told me the forest did not just take people. It took memories of them. According to her, once the forest finished feeding, entire lives could be forgotten. I left Montana and tried to rebuild my life. Yet the whistles followed me across the years. Sometimes they came from distant streets. Sometimes from outside my home. One day I received a photograph of my house taken from the darkness. Written on the back was a message claiming it could sound like anyone now. Years later my daughter heard someone outside using my voice. Strange handprints appeared around the house the next morning. The nightmare had never truly ended. Then I received an audio file supposedly recorded by Walter. In the recording he warned that the forest was only the creature's mouth. Something far larger existed beneath it. Walter said the entity fed on memories, voices, and identities. The more people it consumed, the more human it became. The recording ended with familiar voices trying to lure him closer. Soon afterward, Daniel's journal mysteriously returned to me. I had locked it away years earlier, yet it appeared on my doorstep. The final page had changed. It now contained a message written in my own handwriting. The words read, "You should have let me in." After that, I began forgetting things. First came small details from childhood and school. Then I started losing memories of loved ones. Faces became blurry. Voices faded away. Only the whistles remained perfectly clear. Every night they arrived at exactly the same time. One whistle in the distance. A second whistle closer to the house. And a third whistle just outside my room. My wife later claimed she caught me standing before a mirror. She said I was smiling and whistling without realizing it. The tune matched one my mother used to hum. I have no memory of doing it. Now I write this account before more memories disappear. Perhaps by the time someone hears this story, I will already be gone. Perhaps I will become another borrowed voice in the darkness. Maybe I will stand outside a stranger's home calling their name. Maybe I will sound exactly like someone they love. If that day comes, do not answer. Do not open the door. Do not follow a familiar voice into the night. Because the thing outside is not seeking entry. It wants you to step out willingly. Once it has you, the world slowly forgets you existed. Photographs fade, records vanish, and memories erode. Only the whistles remain. Somewhere in the forests of America, they still echo. One whistle. Two whistles. And then the third. If you ever hear that final whistle, run. Do not look back. Do not listen. And never trust a voice that comes from the darkness wearing a familiar face.